If you want to do it with the whole world, well, first try with one person, right? Because it's not easy to love without discrimination, to love unconditionally. It's not easy. To try it with the whole world, okay, go for it, but not easy. To try with one person, more easy, more possible to do it. So this is the basic idea that is there. And then, if this works, if two people really can do that, to love each other unconditionally, they will create a tremendous power. They will for each other be like a safe haven, or haven, where they can always retreat, where they can always find love and comfort and gentleness, even if outside in the world it's sometimes a little difficult, they can always come back there. And so from this love between those two people, which can be like a little bit like a bubble, of love, when this becomes more strong, it can expand. And it can really start to influence other people, maybe the children, maybe other family, friends, etc. And in that way, it can work in the whole community. And if in that community also there are other couples like that, they also can start, supporting each other, and you really get a loving community. So that is the original, classical idea of love that was there in India. And as I said, the ego should also get a little bit of comfort. The ego is little child. We are all little children. And we are feeling a little bit insecure. A love relationship can really make us feel a lot more secure. That is the first chakra desire. If you are on your own and you become ill, then there's nobody there to care for you. But if you have a life partner, sure, somebody is there. If you lose your job and you have no money, somebody is there. So there is a security in it. First chakra. Second chakra, of course, well, I said it already. To eat an ice cream with two people is much more enjoyable than to eat it on your own. So automatically, second chakra enjoyment of the senses is spiced up, and of course then there's also sexuality, but also traveling together, making art together or enjoying art together, all these things that belong to second chakra. Talking to each other, stories, fun, laughter, this whole, romantic game. This is the second chakra, which also gets, fulfilled. And then third chakra, the desire to be somebody, to be recognized, is definitely also helped very much if you have a love partner. Because that person chooses you. It's one of the main problem of people who don't have a relationship is that they feel nobody wants me. Why doesn't nobody want me? So they're feeling very unimportant. If at least one person chooses you, then you feel, okay, I am somebody. And then fourth chakra, of course, the love, the togetherness on the more emotional level is taken care of. And then fifth chakra, sure, you can learn a lot also. In a love relationship, I'll be talking about that a little more. And then ultimately, this can bring you more peace. And this peace will be a very good foundation to develop more here and go more deep meditation and so on. So in that way, a love relationship can be very spiritually supportive. One thing Harish Johari also said was, and the lady should not take this in a wrong way, he said, first, you forget about all women except one. And then you can also forget about that one. Now, the first part is quite clear, right? No? As a young man, you're seeing all these ladies around, you're going a little bit crazy. So, okay, to focus on one of them, already reduces the problem. Huh? And, you only have this one. And then with this one, you can really live your desire, really have this love relationship, so that after a while, and this while maybe many years or decades even, this becomes a little bit less important. That's what he meant by saying, then you can forget about that one. It doesn't mean you have to leave your wife or, or come to somebody else or, forget about that person. But that whole thing, which is so strong there when you are a young adult, becomes a little bit less important because it has been satisfied. So that indeed, when you are becoming an old man or an old woman, you are no longer, having this kind of thought so much or desire so much, and you can go into more, let's say, classical spiritual work, meditation, service, and all these things, because your desire has been fulfilled. You've had it. You want something else then. That's the basic thing. So this is where it starts. I mean, from this understanding, a love relationship can start in a very different fashion. And so I want to a little bit look at how they see that in India and how we see it here. And I'm not saying we have to do it like they do it in India. Even in India, it's very much changing at the moment. But we can certainly learn a little bit from the wisdom they have there in their idea on marriage and the whole thing. So the first thing which is very different and for us quite difficult to even imagine. When my teacher got married, this marriage ceremony lasted 5 days, which is quite normal still in India. And at the end of these 5 days, after a very long ritual, he finally, for the first time, was allowed to see his wife. During the whole 5 days, she was wearing a veil. And then at the end, when they're actually married, when the ceremony is over, then he can lift the veil and finally see who he is marrying. Now this to us must be very strange, but it is a very clear demonstration of a very different outlook on marriage than we have. And why is it different? Well, it's a completely different kind of commitment. If we fall in love with somebody and eventually marry that person, then we know, more or less, who we are going to marry. No? He had no idea who he was marrying. So this love was absolutely unconditional. He would love her whether she would look beautiful or not beautiful, or whether he was feeling like she's an angry person or a nice person or a cultured person or a stupid person or whatever person. It was his wife for life. Even not just for one life, actually for 7 lives. In India, they marry for 7 lives. That is what is promised there, that for 7 lives they will every time come together again. And so after one dies, the soul will wait for the other one to die, and then together they can again reincarnate somewhere, same village or whatever, meet again become married. 7 lives, this is the promise that they made. So this different approach to commitment is very important. Like something which maybe the ladies like a lot is that the husband brings them breakfast on the bed, in the morning. I'm sure some guys also like it if the ladies do it, but let's just talk about the guys doing it for the ladies now. Now, you have to imagine that this guy is getting up, having a cup of tea in the kitchen, and then he is thinking, okay, maybe I should bring her breakfast on bed. It's like a nice thing to do. Now, in our case, in our situation, the guy will immediately have a doubt. He will think, okay, if I do it today, I may also have to do it tomorrow. Yes? Because if tomorrow I don't want to do it, she may feel bad about it. And she will no longer love me.
But this is thinking. This is not doubt.
Yes, I know. But sometimes people think, So, you understand? In a Hindu marriage, this is very different. Because the love is anyhow there. As I said, my teacher never saw his wife before he married her. His love was unconditional. So to have a clear commitment, to be absolutely sure that this person loves you and you love that person, and this is without any doubt, 0% doubt, makes a lot of things possible. Because then the guy can think, okay, I'll bring her today. If tomorrow I don't want to bring, she'll still love me. Right? So, commitment makes a lot of things possible. In India, it's very common that a wife will call her husband Ram or Krishna or Shiv, and vice versa. The wives are called Radhe or Sita or Lakshmi or something. And this is not just, like that. This is how they see each other. They see this other person as a god or a goddess. And they treat the other person in exactly the same way. They love them unconditionally. Whatever they do is fine. Breakfast on bed or no breakfast on bed, it doesn't matter. They love their partner unconditionally. So, this is a very different approach. And by doing that, by, not expecting the other person to be perfect, you are allowing that other person to give perfection his best shot. Because he knows that if it doesn't work at some moment, he will not be punished for it. He will not lose the love because of it. Because the other will accept anyhow what is happening. It will always be perfect. Now you're understanding a little bit more why I'm talking about the yoga of love. This is not easy. I am not saying this is easy, but this is how it is done. Or how they try to do it. I'm also not saying that in India marriages are all, butter, cream and honey, No. But this is how they try to do it. This is the outlook they have on the whole thing. So, this is a practice of detached attachment. Detached attachment is a very important understanding also. It is a little bit difficult because it seems like you are combining two opposites. You are attached to something, but at the same time you are detached from it. And in yoga in general, it means you are attached to whatever you are doing, in the sense of you are doing your best to do it right, but you are detached from the result of your actions. So in a partnership, this becomes the same. You are very attached to your love for the other person. You are very attached to loving, but you are not attached to her love or his love. You are not attached to getting it back. You are attached to giving. You are not attached to receiving. You are doing it with an open heart, without any expectation. Even if on the other side, the guy has a bad day, he's not really behaving so nicely, you remain loving, kind, serving, whatever you can. Not easy. And the key point is commitment. Like here, many people are talking that they have fear of commitment. Right? Bindingsangst. Sure. Because in our relationships there is no commitment. These days there is hardly any commitment, even with those who get married. They get married, but before they get married they make a contract about what will happen when they will separate and how to divide, the spoils of their marriage. There is no clear commitment. We are always on the scales, always being weighted. And one day we may be in the top shelf, but the next day we may be like, not so good. And the day after we may be out. This is how fast it goes. I've known many couples, they seem like, having really good time together, and then suddenly, boom. Yeah, he did this, or we're not really compatible there, or he's having a different political idea, whatever, any reason these days is good for separating. And I'm, not having really any moral view on it. I'm just trying to explain. It's a very different approach to really go for commitment. But also don't be naive. Don't make this commitment on your own. That's very deadly. You got to be two people doing that. It's got to come from both sides. Both sides have to have this very clear spiritual maturity to do it. But please don't do it on your own, because that also happens. Sometimes you will see a wife, more often a wife, but sometimes also a husband, and the other person is really behaving like very, very badly, and still love. That'll kill you. So don't do that. But if you can find a partner who has the same understanding and who can do it from his side and you will do it from your side, both to the best of your abilities, nobody's perfect. That will be, a very, very great thing, and a very great power, and a very divine work, a very great yoga that you are doing. So in India, they say, better first commit, and then you can fall in love. Because this is what then happens, or can happen. That is, two people who start not from some, biochemical, mental, falling in love game, but start from a clear spiritual understanding and a commitment of pure love, not selfish love, pure love. That then also, after a while being together, a little bit of falling in love can happen and can be very beneficial. And then there's nothing wrong with it. Then it is very supportive. Then this love can be created. This is the different view that they have in India. Here we feel that the love must be there, like love on first sight, right? And then the whole time of this relationship, this is like, do we still have it? This like magical, mythical idea of love which exists somewhere like outside of us. In India they are not so naive. In India they believe in creating love. If two people with a good understanding, with an open heart come together, they fall in love. As I said, we are all very lovable. We are all inside very nice. If we are allowed to be very nice, then we are very nice. So then we can really come together. So this is a little bit different. We first fall in love, and then after some time maybe there is some commitment, like a marriage. In India it's the other way around. So we'll talk a little bit more about that, but let that be clear. And anyhow, on this story of romance, of falling in love, India also has very good understanding how it works. Like nowadays, scientists are coming with all kinds of stories about how looking in the eyes of somebody, or a little touch, or some things can create biochemical patterns and make us feel good, and like they have described that in full detail. It's almost no more fun now to fall in love, because you kind of feel like this is all just biochemicals. So, but that is something which in India is very well described. In Ayurveda, this process is very well known, how it works. And the most essential understanding already is in the word Shringara. Shringara has two basic meanings. Shringara means love, and Shringara means beauty. Both meanings are there, And the Shringara rasa actually not only regards love, but also regards like arts, aesthetic sentiment, feeling, beauty, adoration of beauty, and so on. And so this understanding means that love comes to that which we find beautiful. And that which we love automatically becomes beautiful. Like, for example, if you are looking in a magazine, like I'm looking in a magazine full of models, like very beautiful ladies, then I can say, okay, they are very beautiful, and then I can look at my wife and think, oh, well, she's really not all that beautiful as these ladies in the book, right? This is one way of looking at it. But if I love my wife, then I will look into the eyes of those ladies in the magazine, and I will look into the eyes of my wife, or maybe of her picture, and I will feel she is still a lot more beautiful than they are. That is how, love creates a feeling of beauty. And then also in the other way also, beauty creates love. So to be beautiful is not so much a matter of, being born beautiful. It's about being beautiful and attaching importance also to beauty. About taking nice care of yourself, how you look, about creating, beauty around you in the way you behave, in the way you talk, by being involved with some kind of arts of music or something like that. All these things will create this falling in love and will help making this a beautiful relationship. So all that is quite important, but it's not the primary thing. So in India also, after being married, they go on a honeymoon, and they have very romantic ideas about walking alongside the river and all these things. There's this very famous story also about Krishna, who on the time in September when the moon is the biggest, and it's a lot bigger actually than here in India. It's really quite big. And then there's the time of the full moon in September, and it's like end of the rainy season, so everything is fresh and lush and green and beautiful flowers, not too hot, not too cold. It's like ideal time. And at that time, it is explained that Krishna and the gopis of Vrindavan, the milkmaids of Vrindavan, who were all very in love with Krishna, had this fun along the riverside, and Krishna then multiplied himself in so many Krishnas as there were gopis, and they could all dance together. There's a very beautiful story there. So this whole romantic thing is something Indian people know quite well, and they also know quite well that the mind easily gets bored. That is, a mind game. Romance is a mind game. It's nothing so much to do with the ego. It's mind. And mind likes diversity. Mind likes change. So if the idea is to have a love relationship for the rest of your life, then, you have got to keep mind happy. So that first of all comes to understanding this relationship between love and the senses, love and beauty. And the game of the senses is very wide, And in that way, sometimes you can find we say that here also, that the love of the husband goes through the stomach. Like if the wife, she can be cooking very nice food and, always, a little different, a little surprise, this is helping the love. And so all in that, romance should be there. And, we should try a little bit like this and a little bit like that, and not get stuck in, the same holiday trip for 10 years, like so many couples do, out of fear that, if they change that, maybe it's not going to be as good as last year. No, there should be diversity, there should be variation, there should be a lot of fun. Otherwise, mind will not be interested anymore. So this is an understanding that must be there. And in the rasas in particular, it is also understood that the friendly rasas of love, you find that on that little paper, the friendly rasas of love are wonder and joy. So, if you want to a little bit stimulate love, then it is good to have a little wonder around. Like, when your husband comes home maybe you can say something like, oh, I felt you were coming. Now, maybe you are feeling it, I don't know, I have no idea. I mean, some people feel these things. So if you feel it, definitely you should say it. Because this makes this love a little bit more like romantic, a little bit more mysterious, and that is very, very good. So a little bit of that should be there, and having fun should be there. Joy, laughter is very, very important. Very important. Don't become too serious. If you become too serious in love, this will not work. So this is the first thing. Like in the Vedic planets, you have the planet called Venus, which in our Western background is more like a lady, but in India actually it's a guy. But anyhow, he is the god of love, and they also call him the teacher of the demons. Now this may sound a little bit like, okay, this love is not good, but no, this is just saying that the demons are the ones who are most interested in the senses. They are the ones who are most interested in enjoyment. There's nothing wrong, but there should be quality to it. And that is the task of Venus. He is teaching us to enjoy the senses in good quality. Not always have, the same food with just a lot of, I don't know, salt or sweet or something. Like so many people actually have very little quality in the things that they eat and do. So we should have good quality in the things that we do, in the things that we enjoy. And I can't really go too much into it or my time will run out, but the understanding of the importance of water, the element of water, to love is also very important. To have some running water around somewhere in your house, very important for love. Maybe just keep it there. I mean, I could talk a lot more about it. Maybe when we talk about yoga and Ayurveda, I think this is next English class, we'll talk a little bit more about the relationship between the element of water and love. But to have a little fountain in your garden, or a little, one of these little fountains that you have now for indoor also, is very good. Huh? Well, basically because running water creates an energy in the air which is very supportive of love. Is very supporting your juice, the juice of life. But we really talk about that a lot in this study on Ayurveda. Another part of romance that should be understood is the idea of unity in diversity. Now, the idea of unity in diversity is very important generally also in spirituality. There it just means that, we are all one, but that does not mean that we should be all the same, right? We can all be our individual self and at the same time also be our universal or cosmic self, and that's, creation. If we are all really one, in the sense that there's really no more difference between us, then, this universe will end. So the game is there to have unity in diversity, and is definitely also in the game between men and women, between the male and the female energy. Males will talk a lot about females, and females will talk a lot about males because they're like little strange pieces to each other. But this should not be seen as a problem. Unity in diversity. Men and women can be seen as equal. They don't have to be the same. They can be different. It is actually this difference which makes the whole game so interesting. Even if you have gay people, you will very often see that one will play a more female role and one will play a more male role. They will create that sort of tickling between those two characters or points of view or whatever you want to call it, which is there. So, okay, we can a little bit, complain about the women, and the women can complain about us, no problem, but it should not really be seen as a problem. This is normal, that there is this difference, and to enjoy that difference is the art of romance. And many people are losing this art of romance because they're getting irritated at this other person being different. So this should not be. And also it should be understood that these two kinds of energies sometimes attract and sometimes there is repulsion. That should also be understood. So the fact that, like, let's say your wife comes home and you are feeling very romantic and you've, like prepared, I don't know, some candlelight or, whatever you've been thinking about, and she feels like not interested, then this should not be seen as a problem, because this just basically can happen. That this energy exchange is not really there at that particular time. Maybe she just had a hard time, and wants to be a little bit on her own. Maybe she is thinking about something. So all these things should be understood to make it more easy to have, a good romance, and not immediately question the relationship whenever, the candlelight is not appreciated. This should not always be like that. And then a third approach, let's say, to romance and the typically, boring mind is moderation. And actually, if you look at Indian family structures, this is already in that joint family structure very well integrated. A joint family means that you're living together with your mother and father and brothers and sisters and maybe even grandparents and, like 20 people in one house, usually sharing one room with many people. So if you are living in a family like that, then there's not so much time for all this, romance, for all this fun with the two of you. So that is also an important understanding. It should not be a party every day. That does not, necessarily make sense. There should be a little bit moderation, and when the time is right, and when both are feeling the energy is there, then it can happen. So this is also important to understand. Like, you can have a very beautiful painting, the best painting you've ever seen in your life, and you buy it, and you hang it there, and you are looking at it. Now, how long are you going to look at it? Maybe one day. That's a very long time to look at just one painting. Now, fortunately, a wife or a husband is a little bit more lively than a painting, and walks around and does all sort of strange things. So you'll not get bored so easily. But still, it's no need. Once you have this commitment, once you have this clear understanding, we are that couple, to always be romantic, always go into that. You can also leave each other free to a little bit do whatever you want to do. And then when the time is right and both are feeling like that, then you can act romantic. So we are very attached to this romance. We feel when it is not there, then the love is not there. For Indian people, this is not like that. If it is not there, it's just not there. The love is still there. The love is something going much more deep than this little game.